Don't they look desperate, brother? If only we could make this last.
You never change, sister. Still playing with your food.
There's no flavor without...
Not all nobles in 40k are born equal. It's unfortunate that a good chunk of the miserable blighters have to put their luxurious lives on pause to serve the god emperor. In the event that you are not privileged enough to engage in petty political squabbles for the rest of your days, there are plenty of options available to you. Some are left serving highborn realness and less conspiratorial roles. For example, a cushy existence as an officer in the Mobian 6th. I wonder what sort of fun that regiment gets up to on the fringe. As you may have guessed, I'm referring to Rodin Karnak and his diabolical sister Rinda. At the time, if you had told me that the twins have any story relevance after Traitor's curse, then I would have believed you, because I'm gullible, and we're sorely missing named heretic goons to humiliate face to face. In any case, multiple beatdowns at the hands of the rejects has reduced any familiar Mobian leadership to a whopping one guy. But we still haven't taken the twins out of the equation, neither have they become less important. And yes, Rodin's evaporated corpse is still quite important.
You little fuck.
Before all that though, it's very likely that the twins were troublemakers from the start. A well-meaning noble is about as rare as a tolerant zealot, which is surprisingly common in Darktide, so maybe that's a bad example. I could tell you what it means to be born in a spire on the precious world of Atoma Prime, in an environment more poisonous than the wastes adorning the planet itself. And I'm going to. It's a better life than 99% of the Imperium. The twins' high birth does not directly correlate with a higher chance of becoming a sadistic cannibal, but justifying that they were groomed from birth to oppress the plebeian masses of Atoma helps Solar sleep at night. Even if the Karnaks weren't doomed from the beginning, an induction into the Mobian 6th certainly sealed their fate.
We're going to Nox Alpha. That's a Karkin death sentence.
Nox Alpha, a Nastial planet in the far reaches of the domain. Some might call it the Fringe. I'll try to keep the details slim since this video is essentially a continuation, so let's do this one last time. The Mobian 6th arrive on Nox Alpha, and many quickly discover firsthand why they call it a death world. The air itself screams and wails. The light of a dark sun filters through wasteland mist, dense forests, or not at all. Sludge and rot permeate the lungs of any unfortunate sod without a rebreather, and then there are the heretics. Not all is lost though, at least not yet.
Throne! The Karnak twins have punched through! We might just win this!
Being nobles, the twins were more likely to have better training and equipment than the average tithe victim, although I reckon a more poetic explanation for their success is their bloody disposition. Both lead their respective troops with fear, Rodin in particular being known for his charming behaviour towards recruits who look at him funny. It's cool though because they're good at killing heretics, not to mention Wolver prevents them from meeting the consequences of their senseless brutality.
Saw that Rodin Karnak in battle last night. Fights like a Karkin demon.
Say that again?
Slowly enough, those with a keen nose for bullshit notice things aren't quite what they seem on this benighted world, and it's not that their sickly comrades have been exploding into goo. In fact, pretty much anyone who hasn't lost their sniffer to a Nurglite sinus infection can smell deception in the air. Or is that just the food coming from Rinda's tent? Come to think of it, everyone who has beef with Rinda disappears. Commissar Maxon would be rolling in his grave if he knew Rinda was making succulent Mobian meals out of his troops. Those are his live targets she's eating after all. In the case of most Mobians, the fall to chaos came from a place of desperation, feelings of spite and betrayal. Having actual Nurgle cultists whisper in their ear about the false emperor also helped. Yes, a lack of food, supplies and general support may have led to a change in the menu, but for the twins it's very likely that they were easy prey for the ruinous powers, placing power itself far above their shaky highborn morals.
Why is it that we're starving and Rinda Karnak's squad are eating well?
Meanwhile...
Look! What the fuck is this? What are you doing, Rinda?
These futile campaigns, including the mishap on Nox Alpha, were long and dreadful, and for a while, Tertium is free from the stain of the Karnak siblings, until Mora ruins things by showing them to us in a hologram during a trailer monologue.
You fucking idiot.
We know the 6th find their way back to Tertium, although, mind you, the twins' reveal was pre-Havoc. The hardest thing Darktide gamers had to deal with at this point was resisting the urge to spam their official Discord with unfunny memes. The Orthus offensive would be the beginning of the bull-crushing experience that is contemporary Darktide, and there are lines of dialogue spoken in the update that will haunt many of us on a generational level.
There's no flavor without sport!
Rinda Karnak, the Butcher of Bragner, and Rodin Karnak waste no time at all slaughtering Inquisition strike teams after their introduction. At Zola's behest, we, the rejects, are sent on a special assignment to capture the twins who have been killing hundreds of other rejects. Thanks Zola, but I guess it's a lot better than being sent by the Sector Lord to capture a Death World.
If I were to put you in a meat grinder!
Compared to Nox Alpha, it's a stroll in the park. And what better place to face two traitor lieutenants than the rundown prison complex in the Torrent? There's something fancy to be said about the further subversion of this already oppressive symbol of imperial tyranny, though chances are that the devs just said, fuck it, we'll just choose this one. Unfortunately for us, Zola's desperation has the team caught in the familiar webbings of a trap, in which the twins will attack, drop one-liners, and disappear back into the darkness. No matter how goofy the lines or how on point their villain of the week dynamic is, don't be fooled, the Hounds of Vulva are fully fledged monsters. Instead of destroying the entrance to their lair and running for the hills, your boy Rannick decides the best course of action is to follow the twins down into the depths. Which begs the question, how do you defeat two well-armed traitor lieutenants in their own territory?
Actually, it's gonna be super easy.
Turns out, even after facing lesser demons, plague ogrins, and spawns of chaos, fighting two very angry British people with gimmick shields is still quite the challenge. If ever you were confused whether the twins stand for anything other than bloodshed, then let it be known that Rodin wouldn't be throwing around blight grenades if the twins weren't favoured by the Lord of Decay. You're gonna taste a bit funny after being liquefied by the plague, but Nuggle fanatics have definitely eaten worse. While my countless deaths to pox gas and the Orthus offensive felt real, they weren't canon. And to progress at least one character story here, the twins have to die.
This isn't over.
The darkness arises, and what have we here, sister? Perhaps you seek enlightenment.
Go me, here we go again.
Rinda's return can be a bit confusing if you look at the ways Fat Shark tried to tell us she's coming back. If you didn't watch the now privated Vox Intercept, read the Datascraped Journal, or play Darktide during the Limited Terror in the Dark event, your impression would probably be similar to the only quote people remember from the latest Star Wars movie. Apparently the team didn't consider double tapping, and so Rinda's life hangs on by a thread in the clutches of some pretty wicked hands. From Rinda's perspective, she awakes from her reject-induced concussion and is immediately promoted to Herald of the Admonition by one of the cult leaders. With the revelation that she's exceedingly resilient and a great host for Ermal's disease engineering, there's not much choice but to go along with it.
So what you're saying is, I'm indestructible.
Oh, no. In fact, even a slight breeze could...
Indestructible.
Regrettably, though Rodin adopted his sister's appetite, her ability to survive being clobbered was never passed on. Under the pretense of vengeance for her brother, Rinda is all too happy to indulge in the blabberings of Nurgle, while the Admonition puppet her fury for their prophecies. Enough about her newfound allegiance though, how does Rinda Karnak actually feel about things? Well, we know from the Orthus offensive that both of the twins deeply cared for each other.
Rinda! I'll have your heads for that!
Always were the weakest, brother.
We also know that when things get tough for recently brained cannibal psychopaths, they stick their thoughts down in a journal.
What is time, really? When you get down to it, I mean, is it even a real thing? Is it just a construct of a social system that has an obsession with its own mortality?
Gotta eat your flesh.
I'm a fighter, a soldier. I'm no orator or scribe given to flights of fancy.
After dropping some fire philosophy, Rinda is put on the back burner while her gifts ripen. Dark Communion returns the twins back to relevance, if only to placate their presence as main antagonists. Rinda is the perfect vessel to reflect the evolution of the war on Atoma. She's a symptom of the disease, even with her dormant blessings, and will remain so until, like many of the Admonition's experiments, something goes horribly wrong.
You are one of us.
I'm not loyal to anybody, I'm a demon.
Folks like Rannick don't care to understand the significance of the twins' journey, where they've been nor where they are going. Suddenly, the threat from beyond is very real. The Inquisition finds itself slap bang in the middle of a big fuck-off ritual. It's not certain whether Rodin will be revived in a more traditional sense, or if his body is about to become possessed. Either way, Wolver can stick another bungled security job on his resume, because we managed to crash the place just in time. Most interestingly, there's an artistic choice made here as Rodin's soul flees the cathedral, puffing out as chaos energies obliterate his corpse. Even a failed ritual of this size can have adverse effects on the Hive, and the devs even mentioned this in the Grim Protocols blog. It's good to know Rodin's soul will still be putting in the work as a malignant fart cloud, but for now his story is over.
Fight harder! I'm bored!
So what remains of the Karnak twins? Is it just the strangely absent Rinda, left to fight for a cause she now believes to be her own? Or is she genuinely part of the cult's inner design in a way that won't have her regretting her involvement? Having the title, Herald of the Admonition, certainly lines up with themes of prophecy. Her bond with Rodin could be the catalyst for something more sinister, which brings up more questions as to what prophecy the cult is going bananas for, or why Rodin was so important in particular. There's something joyfully ironic about Ermal mentioning the power of a sibling bond to Wolver, of all people. Hopefully, spelling out the twins' journey has made it a bit more coherent. I had fun delving into their depravity, and I'll be happy to do it for more characters. If you haven't seen the previous video on enemies, I recommend checking that out to get your tertium fix. Mine's insatiable right now, and I know it's only going to get worse with skulls coming up soon. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, yes! The adrenaline, the desperation, the misplaced faith. Oh, it gives the meat such a flavour!